Boom. Synth fan. Susie Brizuela, Misha Oliver, Cecile Kazemi, Kathy Murphy, Punxsutawney Moe, Bernadette, Kathleen Cross, Peter is a Boss, 1269 J-Rock, Debbie Neiman, Tanise, Laurie B, Watchers Soko, Monique Lee, Queen of the South, Misha Oliver, Gavin Rutherford, Samantha Hawkins, Samantha B, Lee Saunders, and me, BDD in the Heezy. Tracy M, Eddie G, Karen Purdy, Lucille, Sandra from Paramount, Fox Hill Dreams, Jasmine Lacey, Amanda Crawford. The Trump Reaper, Wifey, Ness from Connecticut, Gina Potter, Fox Hill Dreams, Patty Deb, Cindy C, Karen Purdy from Newton Falls, Ohio. Welcome to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad, and this is Storytime. Gling, gling. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Happy Hump Day, aka Happy Wednesday. I see we've got a Texas resistor in the audience by the name of Sandy Brown. Welcome, Sandy. Let's see, who else did I miss here? Let's see, I saw Punxsutawney Moe. And Wilbur McCarthy is here. Tina G, there she is. Jen and Fat Tony is here too. Punxsutawney Moe says today is Wetness Day. Wetness Day. Yes, it is indeed wet as we up here in the Northeast are experiencing the aftermath of Hurricane Ida. But before we get into that, let's do a brief summary of our topics today in Stories of the Day. Stories of the Day. Wait, hold on. Here we go. Handmaid's Tale, now playing at a Texas near you. Is President Biden feeling like it's George W. Bush's 2005? We shall discuss. Hurricane Ida leaves 1 million residents without power, possibly for a while. Today's guessing game is famous last words. And last but not least, we're not doing You Raggedy Bish today. Instead, we're doing the Rising Star, and today's Rising Star is Walter Masterson. All right, first, let's see. I see somebody up here by the name of Spin. Welcome, Spin is saying R.I.P. to Elijah. Hopefully justice will be served. I agree. Thank you for that. Marty is here. What up, Marty? Let's see. Alaska Cindy says, "Hi, my taters." Okay. Two really brief things. Let me just go ahead and kick on my random chill music. Okay, first things first. I did pop into the DM room that you guys have um, to announce that I would be starting the show on time today, which I think I did. And the reason I'm starting on time today is because fantasy football draft, which I will get into. Actually, let's just go ahead and get into that then. I've been playing fantasy football for 20 years. No, 22 years. The only time I missed was last year. Last year I missed because of COVID. COVID, right? We could have played, but it was so unpredictable. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, fantasy football is when you take real life players, right? So Drew Brees and Patrick Mahomes and Dalvin Cook. Some of you might have seen that I was asking for advice on my own draft last night. I was like, who should I pick? I get to pick twice. So you pick real players from real teams, and you hope that those players score a lot of points, or they rush for a lot of yards, or they run with the ball a lot, or they pass for a lot of yards. And you go up against somebody else in your league, and whoever's team has the most points wins that week. And whichever teams rack up the most wins by the end of the season, they go into the playoffs. And whoever wins the most games in the playoffs, they are the champion. I have yet to be the champion. I have come in second place, and I have come in fourth place, never first place. Another fun fact is that this year, Wifey will be joining my league for her first time ever. I've seen people play fantasy football the first time. Jen and Fat Tony, I'm in an ESPN league. It's called the DFL, which originally stood for Drunken Football League. So I've seen people play for their very first time and win the whole damn thing. Don't know a damn thing about football. They're basing their picks off of people's names or the uniforms. What up, Scribble My Dibbles? Scribble My Dibbles in the house, y'all. So anyway, my draft is tonight, and I don't think I'm ready for it, but whatever. I am. My number one pick is going to be this guy here, Dalvin Cook from the Minnesota Vikings. Wish me luck. I'm going to need it. I want to win at least one time in my life. Damn it. Yes, that's right, Sylvia Correa. Beginner's luck. Okay. Next up, 9 Perfect Strangers. This was the show that Wifey and I watched on Friday night, and it's fantastic. It's on Hulu. Wait. I think it's on Hulu. Yeah, it's on Hulu. It says Prime Video, but it's on Hulu. And it's a great show. It's basically a bunch of people who are broken who want to become unbroken, so they go to this health spa or whatever, and things happen. So, good show. There's already like 4 episodes in the books, so you can plow right through 4 episodes pretty quickly. And this scene right here was a little bit surprising. I won't spoil what that's all about, but it's a very interesting show. Another thing we watched this weekend was The Sting, which is not a new show, not at all, not by any stretch, starring Robert Redford and Paul Newman. This was from 1973. This was long before Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 8, whatever. Is basically 2 grifters. Before the word grifter was used to apply to Spanky McDumbass, it was basically used to apply to con men. And that's what these guys were. They were con men, and they were good at it, and they were proud of it, and they used their con man skills to take down a guy. Look at these guys. Robert Redford and Paul Newman in the prime. These guys are so freaking handsome. But they use their abilities to take down a bad guy. A guy who was running numbers and also ended up killing the black friend of Robert Redford. And he was in it. This is that movie. Yeah, my dad took me to see that when we were little. Scribble was with us too. I don't remember a damn thing about it except that tune. That's the only thing I remember from it. But it was a really well done movie for the time that it was done. Scott Joplin, that's right, Trump Reaper. And last but not least, in the random section, there's a lot of random stuff. This movie is called Masterminds, and it's funny as hell. Starring Zach Galifianakis, Kristen Wiig, Owen Wilson, and Jason Sudeikis from, Ted Lasso. And it's basically about this is based on a true story. It's based on a heist, a major heist of an armored truck. And it's funny. It's silly, but it's fun and it's funny. So if you want something just to take your mind off of worries and Texas and COVID and Afghanistan, you could do worse than a movie that makes you laugh out loud. And this one did. Oh, I did also forget, Kate McKinnon is in this as well. There's a whole lot of people that you'll recognize from this movie. And I don't even think it did that great in the theaters, but it was cute. I enjoyed it. All right, that's it for the random slides. Let's see, Samantha B., have you ever watched Leverage? Have I? Wifey and I, we ran through all 5 seasons of that. And there's a new season. I don't know if you're aware of this, Samantha B. There's a new season of Leverage that's up. We started watching it. We were like, it's okay. But, there's a certain character that is no longer there on the show. Okay, so that's that. Let's jump into our quick hits. Yeah, you son of a bee. Okay, so before I jump into the quick hits, I just wanted to say, for those of you who don't know what happened to me and to the show yesterday, I am fine. The show is fine. But the Really American channel was blocked, struck. It got a strike, YouTube strike, because they accused me, of all people, of spreading election misinformation. They accused me of being a Trumper. What? Yes. It's insane. Tina G is reminding us all, if you are watching, to please smash that like button. Smash it! Smash the like button. Thank you. But yeah, so we made an appeal. They saw it. It was obviously a mistake, a major mistake. So they fixed that mistake. They undid what they did. And and now we're back on. So go figure. Bizarre. All right, quick hits. So the overall plot of The Handmaid's Tale, it's also a show that's on Hulu, is that America becomes a religious rule society where women completely lose the right to choose what they can and cannot do with their bodies. Their position in society is predetermined. Yeah, they don't get to choose what they're going to be. It is what it is. If you were born to be a handmaid, that's what you became. And what is a handmaid? A handmaid is basically state-sanctioned rape. You are there only to produce offspring. That's it. You have no rights. whatsoever. No rights. You cannot resist. You cannot protest. No, none of that. And it's a frightening reality. And it looks, people say, that will never happen. And I hate it when people say that, because it's like you let your guard down and you see these things happening in real life, slowly creeping towards a reality that we don't want to deal with. But nonetheless, here we are in Texas. A new law bans abortions after 6 weeks. It just went into law last night, midnight. So what does that mean? Most women don't even know if they're pregnant after 6 weeks. They just don't know. So the law allows private citizens, any private citizen can bring a lawsuit against anyone who assists a pregnant person who is seeking an abortion in violation of the ban. So that means if you're an Uber driver, if you are an Uber driver taking someone to an abortion clinic to get an abortion, you too can be sued. A $10,000 bounty for anybody who does it. Said thank you, Sylvia Correa. Yeah. And SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, they could have stopped this if they acted before midnight, but they did nothing. They did nothing. It makes me so mad, because I remember thinking, shit, what happens if Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies? I'll never forget that, because it caused me to write an article about that, a column about that. And people were like, how dare you? She will never die. Really? You guys are not you guys, but those guys, they're stupid. If you've been watching the same show we've been watching, if you've seen all of the dirty tricks that they pull out to win, all of their voter suppression laws, it's not just happening in Texas, it's happening all over the place. There's voter suppression laws. Now they are going to use the Texas abortion ban as a template, and they're going to spread this throughout the country. Roe versus Wade is in serious trouble, and I don't see any dirty tricks or, anybody taking off the gloves. I'm not seeing any response to this whatsoever. Hopefully there is, but I'm very concerned about the direction that this country is heading in. Very concerned. They're basically forcing women to stay pregnant in a state where guns have more rights than uteruses. Uteruses? Uteri? I don't know. Plural of uterus. Women. Guns have more rights than women. Terrible. So, Hurricane Ida has been downgraded to a tropical storm. It's up here now, basically. This tropical storm is passing through here and dumping a bunch of rain on us. But it's left behind a whole lot of devastation in a lot of states, but primarily Louisiana and Mississippi. I don't know about the other states, but Louisiana, about 1 million customers in New Orleans lost power. Lots of damaged homes. We still don't know the full extent of the property damage. 6 people have died thus far as we know, and that number is sure to rise. So right now it's at 6 people, and that is tragic. We hope the number doesn't get too much higher. But efforts are underway to restore power, but they're saying it might take up to a month to restore power to people, and that's a serious condition. But hundreds of people have been rescued since Monday. People have come in boats and helicopters and trucks, swooping in to rescue hundreds of people trapped by floodwaters, and even utility repair crews have rushed in, to help alleviate the situation. You guys see this picture on the screen here? This guy taking a selfie in front of the storm surge. I don't know what possesses people to put themselves in harm's way, but I wish they would stop doing that to Al Roker. Al Roker is like old and does not need to prove himself by getting out there in the middle of a hurricane. That irritates the crap out of me. What else irritates the crap out of me? I'm sure you guys have seen it. I've seen it everywhere. There are lies being told and spread on the internet by people on the right, and this shit has to stop. Has to stop. What am I talking about? Here's a for instance, right? There's a dozen examples. I'm going to only give you a few. There was a helicopter that was carrying a member of the Taliban to repair a flag. But by the time we saw this video trending on Twitter, they were saying that this was somebody who helped the United States being hung from one of our Black Hawk helicopters. And there's an old saying by Mark Twain. It goes, "A lie can travel around the world and back again while the truth is still lacing up its shoes." And that's what happened. By the time we found out this was even happening, this video had gotten millions of views, and they created a narrative that, look what we left behind. Look what President Biden left behind. If they had something concrete, they wouldn't have to make up all these lies and all these bullshit conspiracy theories and scandals that are not scandals. Here's another one. They said, we left military working dogs. We abandoned military working dogs in Afghanistan. And they left this picture. They used this picture, which was labeled by Snopes to be miscaptioned. That's not what happened. These were pets that were under the care of the Kabul Animal Services Center. It's nonsense. And a bunch of military dogs actually, military service dogs, were actually airlifted out of there weeks ago. Back on August 16th, you guys know Richard Engel. He's the guy who's been, reporting and saying what a disaster and what chaos is going on. He reported many Afghans outraged and offended that Americans evacuated service animals from Kabul, but left people behind, including so many who helped the United States. Okay, so there it is. We didn't leave them behind. We got them out early. But the truth is lost in all the chaos. Here's the latest one, although there's probably another one by now. Here's a tweet from Lauren Boebert showing a manipulated video clip, and she's captioned it, "Wake up, Joe, you have a resignation letter to sign." Everybody was saying that Joe Biden was asleep while he was hosting the Israeli prime minister. This did not happen. I was watching it live. It's so ridiculous, and it's annoying that it takes so long for the truth to finally come out. But by the time the truth comes out, it's too late. It's already gotten millions and millions of views. Whether or not it's true is irrelevant. The impression has been created. And once you create that impression, that is affecting people's opinions. And when the opinions are affected and the pollsters come around, hey, how do you feel about the job President Biden is, President Sleepy Joe Biden is doing, the job that leaves people behind and leaves the animals behind and leaves somebody hanging from a helicopter and he's sleeping while the Israeli prime. How do you feel about that guy? Oh, well, since you put it that way, it's terrible. Let me share a little bit of good news with you to wrap up the quick hits that turns out not to be so quick after all. But Elijah McClain, you guys remember this 23-year-old gentle soul from Colorado was murdered 2 years ago, back in 2019, by police and paramedics. Yeah, so today the Colorado Attorney General announced that 3 police officers and 2 paramedics are being indicted by a grand jury. And, the criminal charges against them are going to be manslaughter, and negligent homicide, I believe it is. This poor soul was basically begging them before they killed him, to please, I'm different. Please don't hurt me. It's awful. I can't get into everything that he said. It was just horrible. And they shot him up full of something called ketamine, I believe it is. Was it ketamine? Yeah, it was enough ketamine to disable somebody 80 pounds heavier than him, and then he had a heart attack, and he died later after he was taken off life support. So I know I couched this as being good news, but it is good news that even though he can't be brought back, the people the perpetrators of this crime will hopefully be held accountable. And with that said, I don't know about you guys, but I could sure as hell could use a timeline cleanse right about now. So let's see. Timeline cleanse. All right, let's see. There we go. Okay. All right. So I did say this is timeline cleanse. I don't want to bring you down any more than I already have. However, need to let you know, in case you didn't know already, summer's almost at an end. Aww. Yeah. Summer's almost over, but there is still time. We still have time before summer's completely gone to grab what's left and squeeze out the little bit of juice that's left and enjoy it. All you need to do is find yourself a friend that has some construction equipment and go for a swim and a swing. A swing and a swim. Somebody with some heavy duty, I don't know, what is that, a digger? And there's somebody hanging from a rope from the digger, using that to swing and drop into a pond. Yeah. That's creative. I think if I had a digger, I don't know if I would do that, but that looks like fun. Sylvia Correa says it's very hot here. And Deb B says that means fire season almost over here. I hope so, for your sake. Okay, next up, there are other uses for construction equipment aside from swinging into a pool or actually digging stuff. You can also use that to help somebody who's in a tight spot. So here you got a car in the ditch. On the far right of the screen, there's a car in the ditch, and they're hooking up some cables, some very strong cables, to this bulldozer. I believe that's a bulldozer. Hooking it up to the bulldozer, and they are going to uh, back up and pull that vehicle at. Oh, it's a backhoe. Thank you, Sandra. Excuse me. Not a bulldozer, a backhoe. Backhoe. And here we go. Uh-oh. They pulled, and now it's going the wrong way. Oof. The car was heavier than that backhoe. It's too bad. That's not really a timeline cleanse. It is an oops. All right. Next up, we have a little skit. It's another one of those TikTok skits. This is not the Avengers Assemble. This is the Variants Assemble.
Guys, listen up. UK variant? Yes, boss. You are now called the Alpha variant. Got it. Can I still fuck up Britain? Oh, you can still fuck up whoever you want. South African variant? One sec, boss. I'm just spreading all over Africa. Oh, I know you are. That's why you're going to be known as the Beta variant. Oh, Beta, huh? They Beta watch out. Oh, that is terrible. Brazilian variant, yeah? You are now going to be called the Gamma variant. Nice, I'm Gamma kill everyone. That doesn't even make sense. Indian variant, you are doing so well spreading all over the world. You are now known as the Delta variant. Okay, but half of America doesn't even think I exist. Oh, well, what do Americans believe in? I don't know, extra legroom and bigger iPhones? You know what, you're right. Hey, South Korean variant? Yeah, hey everyone. First day, you're going to be called the Delta Plus variant. Now, how many Americans do you think you need to kill before they think you exist? Oof, 500 million? Strong. Go get them. Hey guys, listen up. UK variant? Yes, boss. You are now called the...
Very clever. Very clever and informative, too. It went through a whole list of the different variants and the reasons why we're still stuck in a pandemic. All right, time check. Just so you guys know, I had a hard cut at 6:30. So I am now going to attempt to run us through the rest of this show as quickly as possible without it being too fast, to whatever. Okay. The next and the main topic for today. Is it 2005 all over again? Why do I ask that question? Well, because we currently have a very powerful hurricane that has hit the Gulf Coast during the same time when we are dealing with a war in the Middle East, or in our case right now, the aftermath of that war, the effects of that war. But first off, this is a shot here of some of the damage done in New Orleans, which is serious, but so far doesn't seem to be as serious as what happened back in 2005 under George W. Bush's pregnancy. He was hit from all sides by a series of crises. And really, if you look at everything that's going on now, it's not just George W. Bush is lucky he didn't have to deal with COVID at the same time or voting restrictions at the same time. There's a lot more shit that Biden is dealing with. But let's get into 2005. Under George W. Bush, Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast and devastated residents of Louisiana. Hurricane Katrina was the largest and third strongest hurricane ever recorded to make landfall in the United States. Now, this picture here, you can see all these houses submerged in water. That was complete devastation. And that's because the levees broke. The levees are what were holding out the water. But see, they were only designed for a Category 3 hurricane. But Katrina peaked at a Category 5 with winds up to 175 miles per hour. And the final death toll was at 1,836 people, primarily from Louisiana and Mississippi. More than half of those victims were senior citizens. Hurricane Katrina affected over 15 million people in different ways, varying from having to evacuate their homes, rising gas prices, and the economy suffering. And there were an estimated 80% of New Orleans was underwater, and that's up to like 20 feet of water. It was serious. This was a major disaster, like probably the biggest disaster I remember in my entire life. I don't remember seeing anything this big. It caused $150 billion in damage, earning the title of the costliest hurricane ever in United States history. And then there was that infamous moment where President Bush got called out on live TV by Kanye West, who said George Bush doesn't care about black people. And he was basically criticizing his response to the disaster that was Hurricane Katrina. And it kind of made sense. It was a humanitarian disaster in our own country with 50,000 people languishing and suffering in the Superdome, waiting for help. I don't know if you guys remember stories about this, but I remember people telling stories about like just feces, people taking a dump wherever, and there was abuse in there. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. And there were thousands more just waiting for rescue in heavily populated black neighborhoods. Stacy, Kanye didn't say it on SNL. There was a live like fundraiser for that. Um, and Mike Myers happened to be there. He was doing the fundraiser with Kanye. And when I'll never forget when Kanye said that, Mike Myers just turned and looked at him like, oh shit. Yeah, that was Mike Myers. Yeah. Um, yeah. And after, even after he said that, a few weeks or months after he said that, he kind of backtracked and said, he was heated, he was in the moment, but he said what he said. And I wish he didn't back up off those comments because I felt that. Um, and Meanwhile, while the disaster is going on, George W. Bush had this guy in charge of FEMA by the name of Michael Brown, and George Bush told the head of FEMA, while all these people are suffering and waiting to be airlifted, waiting for food and shelter, he says, Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job. Heck of a job. That was, that was tone deafness at its peak tone deafness. Heck of a job. That was mission accomplished, tone deafness. Um, mission accomplished, tone deafness. Excuse me. And meanwhile, the job that Bush was doing with our troops in Iraq, after we found out that there were no weapons of mass destruction, he still declared mission accomplished. I don't know why. It was a disaster as well. We had thousands of troops deployed for what? Here's a scene where they pulled down a statue of Saddam Hussein. But this statue, by the way, we all remember seeing this. We all remember seeing that statue get pulled down. It wasn't even a significant statue. It wasn't even in a significant area. They pulled that shit down, and the visual is all they wanted. They only wanted that visual, and it kind of worked. We were being gaslit during that whole thing, and he pulled resources out of Afghanistan early in 2003 just to be able to deploy them in Iraq. If he had left them in there in Afghanistan, they could have trained those Afghan forces then and there, trained them to eventually take over. Who knows if they would have ever even if they had started training them back in 2002, 2003, who knows if they wouldn't still have collapsed the way they did now. But he could have and should have done that back then. Meanwhile, fast forward to our evacuation effort in Afghanistan. Okay. We spent the past month evacuating people, and we stuck to a deadline. President Biden set a deadline of August 31st, and he did not want to extend it any further. And his reason for that was, if he extended it, it would be putting more Americans and more service, more U.S. military in harm's way, and he wasn't willing to do that. You got to respect him. You got to respect him for doing what he said he was going to do and sticking to his word. In the past month, he pulled out 122,000 people. That's no small number, and that includes 6,000 people, that 6,000 Americans who wanted to leave. Right now, there are anywhere from 100 to 200 Americans who have not yet left. They're still in Afghanistan. And I don't know what to say about that. I believe that there must be some efforts going on behind the scenes, low key, to keep them out of harm's way, to get them out, but not through the military. But yesterday, President Biden made a speech, and there were several important takeaways in that speech.
No nation has ever done anything like it in all of history. The extraordinary success of this mission was due to the incredible skill, bravery, and selfless courage of the United States military and our diplomats and intelligence professionals. That was the choice, the real choice, between leaving or escalating. I was not going to extend this forever war, and I was not extending a forever exit to those asking for a third decade of war in Afghanistan. I asked, what is the vital national interest? It was time to end this war. We will maintain the fight against terrorism. We just don't need to fight a ground war to do it. And to ISIS-K, we are not done with you yet.
We are not done with you yet. I love how he tough talks. Yeah, but the gist of his speech was, I did what I did. I'm not apologizing to anyone for it. And 20 years is long enough, and I'm not going to drag out this exit any longer than it needs to be dragged out. And there's a different way to do war. Now, this war comes with a cost. We've lost over 2,000 people in Afghanistan, and more recently, as of last week, we lost 13 U.S. service members. And of course, there was another. There was the dignified transfer, right? And there was another instance where Joe Biden happened to look at his watch, and the right wing was all over that. Oh, are we boring you? Are we keeping you from something? Nah, guys, he just looked at his watch the way any other very busy human being who's in charge of the lives of 300 million people acts. You got shit to do. You got to know what time it is. So anyway, as far as the Afghanistan situation and the hurricane situation, I don't think, the whole name of this is it 2005 all over again? I'm going to say no. Just examining comparing the apples to apples and oranges to oranges, this is very different. George Bush put us into a war by lying us into that war 20 years ago, and he mismanaged the hurricane. Now, the jury's still out. The jury's still out on how President Biden is going to deal with Hurricane Ida. But for all intents and purposes, He's mobilized everybody he could possibly mobilize. They've sent 3,600 FEMA workers, 3.4 million meals, millions of liters of water, 35,000 tarps, 200 generators. And of course, as he always says, during a crisis, he says, whatever you need, I got you. I got you. So there's no doubt. He's not pulling out Sharpies. He's not pulling out paper towels. He's not doing any of that nonsense. He's strictly business. He's all about saving lives. So comparing 2021 to 2005, I'm giving President Biden the benefit of the doubt that he has learned from the mistakes of his predecessors, and he's going to handle both the Afghanistan withdrawal or the aftermath of that, because that situation still is going on, but he's going to be on top of it, and he's going to be on top of the damage from Hurricane Ida. All right, that's all I have the time to say about that. Let's jump on to our next topic. Famous last words. Amanda Crawford is asking, weren't they saying at first that Biden didn't go to Dover? Yeah. As I was saying before, Amanda, I don't know if you missed that part during the quick hits, but yeah, they're all about just fake outrage because they really have nobody and they have nothing. And they are doing their damnedest to drive his approval rating down based on lies. I don't know how effective that's going to be. But famous last words originally was meant to be the final words spoken in a movie. But then I was like, nah, that's going to be tough. However, what this guessing game is about is it's the famous last words of a character who has met their end in a movie. Okay? So, how it goes, I'm going to read the quote, and then you guys are going to guess what movie that comes from. This is probably going to be the toughest game you have played to date. All right? Once you recognize the movie, type it up, hit send, and let me know. Here it is. The movie. Okay, first one. Here we go. Oh, by the way, does anybody recognize this character on this graphic right here? He's falling. This is not part of the guessing game. I'm just curious to know if you guys recognize this character. All right, here's the first one. Next time you have a chance to kill someone, don't hesitate. Scribble my dibbles, you are correct. That was Hans Gruber. I'll read that again. Next time you have a chance to kill someone, don't hesitate. Okay, so a bunch of you have guessed Die Hard, and you guessed right. Yes. This guy is saying that to John McClain, who is under the table with a gun, and he shoots him up and says, "Thanks for the advice." Okay, and let's see, who do we got here? Ness from Connecticut, and Eddie G, Tracy M, Monique Lee, Ben Carlazzo, Corey Lord, Wilbur McCarthy, Misha Oliver, Samantha Hawkins, Sylvia Correa. Okay, that's it. I'm taking fewer names right now because I'm in a rush here. Here's the next one. Listen up. Welcome, Jill D. from Ireland. Welcome to the show. All right. I now know why you cry, but it's something I can never do. Goodbye. Excuse me if I don't get the accent 100% right, but I'll read that again. I know now why you cry, but it's something I can never do. Goodbye. Uh-huh. 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 Okay. We were looking for Terminator 2. If you said Terminator, I'm gonna give it to you. Give it to you the credit anyway. But yeah, Terminator 2. And who do we got at the top here? Lee Saunders, the Trump Reaper, Eddie G, M. Getz, Ness from Connecticut, Gavin Rutherford, Jen Murphy, Cha Cha, Tracy M, excuse me, Synth Fan, Cindy C, Misha Oliver, Lucy L, Fox Hill Dreams, The Trump Reaper. The Trump Reaper, you get extra credit for saying the best Terminator movie. Damn right. No, Scribble, it is not Fievel the Mouse. Or Fievel? It's not him or her. Samantha Hawkins, Wilbur McCarthy, Tanise. Very good, you guys. Okay, next one. Next one. Here we go. We'll be the ultimate family. A family of 3 joined together in one body, more human than I am alone. That one's tough. I'll be shocked if anybody gets that. We'll be the ultimate family. A family of 3 joined together in one body, more human than I am alone. Thank you for the time check, Melissa McQueen. Holy shit, you guys. What the hell? Holy cow. You guys are freaking fantastic. Fantastical. I would have never got this one. Corey Lord asks, can you make it harder? Man, you didn't even get this one. We got at the top here the Trump Reaper, Tracy M, Misha Oliver, Ness from Connecticut, Gavin Rutherford, Eddie G, Sylvia Correa, Samantha Hawkins, Cindy C. I did my best, guys. I did my guess with that one. All right. Next up, I got to speed it up here. Now, here's the next one. What is your major malfunction, numbnuts? Didn't mommy and daddy show you enough attention when you were a child? I'll read that again. What is your major malfunction, numbnuts? Didn't mommy and daddy show you enough attention when you were a child? I swear, I have never seen Scribble My Dibbles throw an answer up there as quickly as she did for this one. All right, maybe there's something to what you were saying, Corey Lord. I don't know. I thought these were challenging. All right, we're looking for Full Metal Jacket. At the top here, we have the Trump Reaper, Scribble My Dibbles, Synth Fan, Lee Saunders, Monique Lee, Corey Lord, Misha Oliver, Sylvia Correa, Tracy M, Samantha Hawkins, Fox Hill Dreams, Cindy C, Karen Purdy, Amanda Crawford. Checking my time. I got 3 minutes. Let's go. Okay, next one. You guys really are excellent at this. It's not that these questions are so easy. Here's the next one. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Yes, scribble my dibbles. You answered with certain authority on this one. You're not even a question mark. All right, we were looking for Star Wars. Okay, and at the top here we got Ness from Connecticut. Scribble my dibbles says Obi-Wan. Yes. Ben Carlazzo, Synthfan, Alaska. Nope. Damn it. Corey Lord. You so close, Lee Saunders. I'll give you partial credit for that. You said Darth Vader. He was fighting Darth Vader. Eddie G. Misha Oliver, the Trump Reaper, says Star Whores. Horse. Lucy L. Cha-Cha, Karen Purdy, Bernadette, Tracy M., Sylvia Correa. Very good, you guys. Okay, I got to speed it up. Here's the next one. Say auf Wiedersehen to your Nazi balls. Say auf Wiedersehen to your Nazi balls. Okay, I know. It's 6:30. I'm going to finish this. So we got to go through this. You got to guess. What is it? Say auf Wiedersehen to your Nazi balls. Did I stump you guys? I have stumped you because normally by now I got a lot of people guessing Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I got 2 correct guesses. We were looking for Inglorious Bastards. Congratulations, Deb B. And Ness from Connecticut. Oh, also Misha Oliver. Very good, you guys. Wilbur McCarthy, Kathleen Cross. Very good. Okay, next up. Stop. Wait. Come on. I take your fucking bullet. You think you kill me with bullet? I take your fucking bullet. Go ahead. Okay, I'll admit, Corey Lord, that one was way too easy. We got Scarface, all right? Scarface. And at the top, we got Scribble My Dibbles, Monique Lee, Eddie G, Synthfan, The Trump Reaper, M. Getz, Tracy M., Misha Oliver, Lucy L., Sylvia Correa, Wilbur McCarthy, Gavin Rutherford, Jen Murphy, Nez from Connecticut City, Bernadette, Karen Purdy. Okay. Next up. You were right about me. Tell your sister you were right. Huh? Next one. Did you hear that? I'll do it again. You were right about me. Tell your sister you were right. Okay. Clearly, I have stumped some of you with this one. Ah! Yeah. Okay, so we're looking for Return of the Jedi. I'm giving you some partial credit for this. Eddie G. Ness from Connecticut gets full credit. Vader, Return of the Jedi. Corey Lord, once again, proving her point that these were too easy. Return of the Jedi, she gets it. As does the Trump Reaper, ROTJ, Misha Oliver, Lucy L., Gavin Rutherford, Lisa Hathaway, Cindy C. Okay. Very good, you guys. Very good. I'm zooming right along. Oh, now that I look at this one, I can see this one was way too easy. Now, wait. Here's the next one. Now take my hand and swear eternal loyalty to Zod. Now take my hand and swear eternal loyalty to Zod. Excuse me, Corey Lord. My bad with the pronouns there. So sorry for that. What was I thinking? My lights are off. Eternal loyalty to Zod. Yes, you guys are correct. Somebody said the Muppets because I'm sure I sounded like a Muppet there. At the top, Scribble My Dibbles, Ness from Connecticut, Lee Saunders, Synth Fan, Misha Oliver, Tracy M., Gavin Rutherford, Kiss, Karen Purdy, Samantha Hawkins, Stacy Mendenhall, Kneel Before Zod, Sylvia Correa, Bernadette, Amanda Crawford, Ness from Connecticut, Ben Carlazzo, Lucia. Okay, all you guys got this one. Okay. Last one, and then I gotta bounce. Promise me, Rose, and never let go of that promise. That's it. Promise me, Rose, and never let go of that promise. Okay. And Corey Lord has proved me, has proved himself correct this entire game. These were way too easy. So, I will, note taken, I shall up the ante on the next game. All right, at the top here, we got, okay. We got Lee Saunders at the top with Titanic, followed by Eddie G, Ness from Connecticut, Monique Lee, Michelle Bookout, Tracy M, Misha Oliver, Tanise, Gavin Rutherford, Laurie B, Sylvia Correa, Bernadette, Watcher Soko, Kathleen Cross, the Trump Reaper, Cindy C, Valerie G, Jen Murphy, Samantha Hawkins, Amanda Crawford, M. Getz. Okay, now. Okay, so originally I was going to do the Rising Star.
Hooray!
And that Rising Star is Walter Masterson.
Speaker is Walter Masterson.
I'm comparing it to what it's like when you can't breathe. It's like wearing a mask. Oh, I can't breathe.
It's this guy, right? So I didn't have time to do it today. We'll do it on Friday. Rising Star, Walter Masterson, because now I got to bounce. But guys, thank you very much for another fun, wonderful episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, a.k.a. Brooklyn Dad. And as Karen Purdy says, you need to leave. And I got an interesting question from Fox Hill Dreams. I just got to read this out here. Fox Hill Dreams says, BDD, when do we start airlifting women and children out of Texas? That is a brilliant, brilliant question. Brilliant question. Yeah, that's a very good question. I don't even know. All right, guys. So thank you very much for letting me share with you. If you got to go out, not tomorrow. I won't be back tomorrow. I'll be back on Friday. If you got to go out, make sure you, oh, my patch is on this arm. I had to move the patch on this arm because the other one was starting to itch, right? I'm on day 16, by the way, of not smoking. That's an achievement. So please, if you haven't already gotten the shot, get yourself a shot, get the vax. wear your mask, keep your social distance, 6 feet or better, and have a lovely, relaxing evening and Thursday, as we like to call Thursday, Friday Eve. So I love you guys. I will see you here, same time, same place on Friday. I love you all. Peace. Boom. The Trump Reaper is saying, dun, 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 dun. Excuse me. Wilbur McCarthy says, watch out for Republican gaslighting. It is everywhere. Deb B reminding us to please hit the like button along with Cindy Sue. The same. Marty, you are correct. It does feel great not being chained to cigarettes. It is a great feeling. Thank you for that. Wow, it is pouring outside right now. Cats and dogs. Buckets. Hey! That's okay, Rayetta hates Trump. Glad to see you made it at least for the outro. Leaving music. And as Amanda Crawford says, go do your sports ball thingy. Hey! Fun fact, guys. I did build some time in. Cindy C says I'm 10 minutes late. No, I'm 20 minutes early. My draft starts at 7 p.m., so this gives me some time. Yes. Corey Lord, how dare you? Corey Lord said he missed most of the show and has been sending polls. How dare you? All right, you guys, it's time for me to go, and so it's that time for you. You need to leave.